And welcome, sports fans, to today's Sports Roundtable. Sorry we're having to come to you from the office here today. We have some issues in the studio, not able to go from the studio today, so just kind of putting something together today. Big week, so didn't want to miss today's show. A lot to get to from the week, including the Stoddard County Activity Association Tournament last night that wrapped up in Bloomfield. Big games last night that wrapped up, big championship games. And good games to show in the highlights here momentarily. But big week in basketball in the thick of the conference season right now. Very exciting part of the year. These conference tournaments starting to get underway. We had Stoddard County. We're going to enter to the Boudil Conference this next week, the Tri-County the next week, and, of course, the SEMO Conference regular season, which is so big. It's starting to get into the really interesting part of the season as well. And we had a matchup last night in the SEMO Conference, which really makes it interesting going forward. So some big games and some teams that are starting to make some moves now. It's really, really exciting to see which teams are starting to rise to the top. The cream rising to the top, as they say, here in the late January into February. Very exciting time of the year, especially in high school basketball. So glad you joined us here on YHC, YHCTV.com, and Facebook Live out there as, we're just kind of putting something together today. The studio's out, the question for today, but just trying to get you a show together, put together for today. So let's just take a look at the games from last night throughout the area. First, starting off with Stoddard County, the Stoddard County Activity Association final last night in the varsity game, 61-42. Dexter victorious over Bernie, and Dexter got out to an early lead and pretty much kept it, just built on it slowly throughout the game. And Bernie just never could make that run to really cut into it. They made a slight run in the third quarter, got it down to about 10 points, I think maybe 8 possibly, but I think around 10 points. Dexter pushed it back on up, and Bernie just never could cut into that lead and really threaten the Bearcats late. So, Dexter comes out on top with the Stoddard County varsity final. We got some highlights of that from last night. Let's go ahead and take a look at that final from last night. Make sure I got the right one, not the JV one here. So let's take a look at the game from last night. And from Bloomfields, we brought that live to you last night. And yeah, it's the JV one, sorry. Yeah, here we go. And here's the JV game getting underway. Or to see the varsity game. Three-pointer on the right side. Bernie knocking one down early on, but here's where it was all game long. Braxton Foster getting the basket and the foul underneath. Weston Zoll knocking that one down from the outside for the Mules. Andrew Ellinghouse stepping into a three on the right wing, knocking that one down. And Gargis, one of the plays of the game, stepped through with the left hand and the finish for the Bearcats. And a three-pointer on the left side up and in as Dexter really got out to a great start. Here's the action pretty much all night, high-low action. Braxton Foster with that jumper. Again, assist from Garrett Henson. Foster with the finish. And here's a high-low. Foster down to Henson, and Henson had a big night last night. I think right at 30 points for Henson. Weston Zoll knocking that three down on the left side. And here, Seth Rogers knocking down that transition jumper there. Skylar Schwent getting a nice follow-up on that shot there for the Mules. Three-pointer on the left side. Andrew Ellinghouse knocking it down. Skylar Schwent on the drive. Nice finish with the right hand at the basket for the Mules. And Hunter Slaving is going to step into that three, knocks that down here into the second half. Three-pointer up and good. Nate Gargis knocking that one down. Skylar Schwinn on the drive again. Up for the finish, late in the third. And another high-low action here. Foster to Henson. Bernie just have a hard time with that all night long. Nice dish off. Gargis to Foster. Now Ellinghouse looking to Henson, dished off to Foster, and nice ball movement with the Bearcats all night. As we see here, nice finish at the rim and the foul for the Mules. Henson just working down low, getting that finish to go in the paint. And step through jumper on the left side up and in for Zoll. And here again, Henson getting the easy two and having his way around the rim last night. Garrett Henson, nice follow-away jumper there from Hunter Slavings. And we see here another basket and the foul. Henson having his way last night, right around the rim. He was just so good. Had around, I think we had him down for 30 points last night, right around 30 points. So that's tough. Tough for the Bernie Mules to handle. Bernie doesn't have a whole lot of size to be able to rotate in, and Dexter exploited that last night. High-low action. Braxton Foster, which really does well at the high post. He's able to shoot that that mid-range jumper right there at the free throw line, or put it on the floor to get to the basket, or just look down for that dump down to Garrett Henson, which was there a lot last night and had a big night. Garrett Henson with a big night, right around 30 points. Braxton Foster pitched in quite a bit there at the high post. Got some good guard play out front as well. Rogers, Gargis, and Ellinghaus had really nice games, shooting efficiently from the outside, really mixing up, getting in, get with the dribble transition as well. So just an all-around great effort by the Bearcats last night at the varsity level. It was a lot like the regular season game in Bernie we had earlier in the year. Dexter got out to a big lead, about a 17-point lead early in the game. Bernie fought back in that one, though, got back all the way down and just lost by a possession there in the end. Kind of thought that might be the same script last night. Dexter pushed out to an early lead at halftime, and thought Bernie might have that run in them, which they did. Cut it down to about 10, but that's about all they could do, which Dexter pushed it up at that point, back up to the 18-20 point mark. So Bernie just didn't have that run in them the second half as they had earlier in the year at Bernie in the regular season. Just couldn't put a consistent run of offense together, and really it wasn't as much the offense as it was the defense. That high-low really affected them, and tried to go to man at that point. When you're down, you got to force the issue defensively. You got to go man-to-man, force some traps, pick up the pressure, force them to go man-to-man, and that's where they really took advantage of those matchups. Foster and Henson with that high-low action, and Henson had his way and had a big night right around the rim. Just so hard to handle when you don't have the size, especially with Foster at around, 6'4", and Henson around 6'5" to 6'6". You know, two guys with size like that, it's really hard to match up with. And the best that, Bernie can do is Josh Ellenberg, standing around 6'2", something like that. He can hold his own for sure, but they have Andrew Gohagen that's been coming in off the bench, but just not a great rotation to match up with those guys over full 32 minutes. So hats off to Dexter. Executed the game plan well and got the win last night over a Bernie team that's been playing quite well here of late. They got some big wins, and they've been playing well, but that's just been a matchup issue for Bernie this year, being able to match up with certainly the size of Dexter, but the guard play of Dexter's been really good as well. With Gargis, Rogers, Ellinghaus, Hahn. They've been playing really well there on the perimeter as well, and they shot the ball pretty well last night when they took their shots. So all-around great effort by the Dexter Bearcats at the varsity level last night. Hats off to them. So a great game as always between those two. It's just Dexter got out to a lead and just never surrendered it. So great effort by the Bearcats last night. And let's take a look at some other games from the area last night. Take a look at the third-place game, Advance and Richland. Advance got the victory over Richland, taking 2 overtimes for this one. Just an unbelievable finish there last night between those two, Advance and Richland. And Advance got the win in double overtime, 86-75, come away with third place. In that game last night. And Richland had a chance late, just come up a bit short. They had the lead through a lot of this game. It wasn't a big lead, but they had a lead. It went back and forth, but Richland had a lead late, and Advance made a nice run to cut into that lead. I think Richland had about a 5 or 6 point lead late in the fourth quarter. Advance made some plays late to make it interesting, and it certainly ended interestingly as it went into double overtime. Taking a look at some of the highlights from last night in that one. And here early on the left side, Hunter Curtis knocking down a 3. His play was big, even though didn't fill up the score sheet, but the 3-pointers really came up big. Wes Shelby with a nice 3-point shot there. Dumped down for Richland. Jackson Bell with the finish. Here on the left side, Tanner Freeman stepping into a 3-pointer on the left side. And here, a big shot there. Jack Ballou had a big night for the Advance Hornets. Daniel Petty stepping into that 3 on the right side, knocking it down. And nice drive to the finish. Riley Glass all the way to the basket there. Jack Ballou with a nice finish with mid-range jumper. And Tanner Freeman knocking this one down at the end of the first quarter. A long three-pointer at the buzzer. Three-pointer on the left side. I think that's Zach Sims there knocking that one down. And Andrew Partenberry getting that one to go at the top of the key for three. And in the transition, Partenberry with another basket in the transition. And Riley Glass getting that one to go at the basket. Daniel Petty, three-pointer, knocking that one down here towards the end of the first half. And dump down pass, Jackson Bell getting that one to go. Nice entry pass as well. And we see here Jack Ballou knocking that one down in the transition, the pull-up jumper. Wes Shelby stepping back, top of the key, getting that one down inside the three. Shelby again stepping at the elbow on the left side, knocking it down into the second half now. Daniel Petty knocking down the three and converted the 4-point play there with the foul. And here we see into the third quarter here. Shot up and good on the right side. Starting to get some three-point shots to fall for the Hornets. Nice drive, Jack Ballou with that one. Riley Glass, aggressive to the basket here towards the end of the third. Tanner Freeman with a little runner on the left side, getting that one to go. And Tanner Freeman with another elbow jumper, sideline jumper, knocking that one down. Nice drive to the basket with the finish there. Wes Shelby. And Wally, I think it's Wally getting that one to go for the Rebels. Tanner Freeman, nice drive to the basket at the end of the third. Into the fourth now. Jack Ballou with a nice finish at the basket. And here Richland enjoying a couple leads here. Tanner Freeman knocking that one down. 4-point lead for Richland at this point. And nice basket and the foul for the Hornets there. And nice drive and finish as we're seeing Advance really make it interesting here. Big three-point shot. Tanner Freeman on the left side puts him up three. And a nice shot there on the right side as Advance matching point for point here. Tanner Freeman, three-pointer, puts him up four. And here, three-point shot on the left side. Sims gets that one to go, cuts it to one. And then a three-pointer on the left side. Hunter Curtis puts up the Hornets by two. Then Tanner Freeman comes back and knocks down the three to put Richland back up one. And Curtis, again, big shot, puts the Advance up two. And then nice dump off, deflected out of bounds. Nice block there. But here at the end of the regulation, Andrew Partenberry gets that one to go to force overtime. And into the first overtime period here, Advance getting off to a nice start. Nice drive to the basket. Wes Shelby again getting a nice basket. Three-pointer on the right side, Hunter Curtis. He was big last night, and that was what really pushed them ahead. Hunter Curtis with that three-pointer in that second overtime period, and Hunter Curtis was big. I think he had 5 three-pointers. All three-pointers were his points, I believe, and he come up big there to push that lead in the second overtime, and that was big for the Hornets. Big performances out of Wes Shelby, Jack Ballou, and Hunter Curtis last night to really push them ahead of Richland in that third-place game. So there you go, big game from SCAA third-place game last night. And we'll quickly take a look at the highlights of the JV game from last night. Let's take a look at the JV game between Dexter and Bernie. And Dexter got that victory as well in the JV finals. Go ahead and take a look at those finals from last night. We're into the varsity one here. Let's get to the JV. All right, going to the JV game now. Not as acquainted as the names here, but I'll just do a drift and highlight here. Is Dexter also got out to an early lead in this one. And Carter Dorton stepping into that one on the left side. And three-point shooting falling for the Dexter Bearcats last night. The JV Bearcats shot it very well from the outside. Bernie really stayed aggressive to the basket, especially in the transition. And got plenty of baskets at the rim. Jackson Allen knocking one down. Going to knock down another one on the left side. A high-arcing three-pointer. He had a good handful in this game. And a nice push there as Bernie finished in the transition there. Carter Dorton going to step back for a mid-range jumper there, getting that one to go. And Ryder Bowles pulling up in the transition for that three. Nice step-through finish, mule there into the paint here at the end of the first half. Three-pointer again, Jackson Allen on the three-pointer. Dished out three-pointer, good, into the second half here for the Mules. And nice couple of baskets here, the Mules converting. And three-pointer on the right side, good for Dexter. And here in the transition, nice ball movement, Bernie with the finish there. And into the fourth, three-pointer on the right side, up and good, as Dexter really shot the ball well from the outside. Jackson Allen going to hit one from deep on that one on the left wing. And stepping through with a nice little runner there into the fourth. And Dexter come away with that victory. Don't have the final score there, but it was about a 6-7 point victory, something like that, for Dexter over Bernie. So Dexter getting the JV victory as well in that JV championship, Dexter over Bernie. So Dexter winning both JV and varsity last night, the Dexter Bearcats. So it was a clean sweep for the Bearcats last night in the championship games. And in the JV third place game, it was Bloomfield over Woodland. Bloomfield over Woodland decisively, so Bloomfield taking third place in that JV final last night in the Stoddard County Tournament. So there's a wrap for the Stoddard County Tournament. We'll talk a little bit more about it in our next segment, but great tournament as always there in Bloomfield. Alternates between Dexter and Bloomfield, and a great finish last night in Bloomfield, and a great tournament all week. And let's take a look at some other games from the area. Let's take a look at... All right, let's take a look at Portageville. Portageville, big win over New Madrid County Central last night, 54-48. Non-conference game there in Portageville, but a big win for the Bulldogs. We'll talk more about them in our next segment. Look out for these Bulldogs going forward. They got a big win last night over New Madrid. And also we have from last night, Charleston over Kennett, 81-62. Charleston really looking good at this point of the year. Big conference win there in the SEMO Conference, and Charleston looking really good at this point of the season. Cape Central over Poplar Bluff, 77-63. Key victory there for Cape Central in the SEMO Conference. Cape Central and Poplar Bluff right there at the top of that conference. And Cape Central getting a win up at Cape Central last night over Poplar Bluff. That's a key win in the SEMO Conference for the Tigers. And Oran over Leopold, 79-47. No problem for the Oran Eagles last night. Oak Ridge over Kelly, 81-61. Notre Dame over Jackson, 57-42. SEMO Conference victory for the Notre Dame Bulldogs in that one last night. Campbell over North Pemiscot, 76-25. 76-25, Campbell over the Mustangs. Sykeston over Troy Buchanan, 82-48. No problem for the Bulldogs, and I don't think they've had a problem all year long. I'll tell you, they've had a great season so far, and I don't know what they're defeating their opponents by, but it's a good 30 points, I would say, with the exception of that Charleston game a few weeks back where they beat Charleston by 10. Other than that, it's been 30-plus point victories for the Bulldogs this year, and we'll see if anybody can slow them down over the next few weeks. But big conference games coming up for the next few weeks for the Sykeston Bulldogs. And also from last night, East Prairie over Delta, 94-71. Big win for the Eagles last night over a much improved and impressive Delta Bobcats team last night. Seeing Hornersville over Delta C7, 80-49. Seeing Hornersville beating Delta C7 there in the Boot Hill. Doniphan over Malden, 60-50. The Dons over the Green Wave in that one last night. Twin Rivers over East Carter County, 57-54. Twin Rivers getting Ozark Foothills Conference victory there last night. Risco over Southland in the Tri-County Conference, 89-42. Risco back at full strength. Got Nathan Burnett back in the lineup, and boy, they look really good. Defeated Gideon earlier in the week. Decisive victory over Gideon. We should have had some highlights, but didn't have those ready for this morning. But looked really good over Gideon earlier in the week. And look out for the Tigers. They're back at full strength and looking really good. Scott City over Zalma, 98-45. Also, Scott County Central over Cooter, 54-30. Seeing Hornersville over Clarkton. Going back to Thursday night, we had this broadcast Thursday night for you. Had a little trouble last night, or Thursday night, with the technical stuff, but don't have any highlights for you. But that went into double overtime. Seeing Hornersville defeated Clarkton 94-92. And big game there Thursday night that we brought live to you. And seeing Hornersville, not a bad team. Clarkton looking really good in the Tri-County Conference. Looks like they're going to be the top seed in that Tri-County Conference here in a few weeks in that tournament down in Gideon. So seeing Hornersville come up with the boy, that was a attrition game there. Seeing Hornersville, 4 of their 5 starters fouled out into the second overtime. Lee Matney fouled out for. I think Lee Matney and another one fouled out for Clarkton. I think it was Ricka Brown also fouled out in that one. So I think 4 Zenith starters fouled out, and Clarkton's main player, Lee Matney, fouled out in the first overtime. So I think a collection of about 6 players fouled out in that one and had to go deep into their benches for that one from Thursday night. And Neelyville over East Carter County, 87-37. That was over there in the Ozark Foothills Conference as well. Doniphan over Twin Rivers and the Ozark Foothills Thursday night, 55-30. Doniphan getting a big win over Twin Rivers, 55-30. And in girls basketball from Thursday night, Dexter over Sykeston, 55-48. No problem with Dexter over Sykeston in the CMO Conference there. Also, Crothersville over Malden in the Boot Hill Conference, 58-50. And Kennett over Portageville, 47-34 in girls basketball from Thursday night. And just giving you a glimpse of the replays you can catch of the Stoddard County games, the varsity championship. You can watch that replay today, coming up Saturday at noon, then also this evening at 6:30, and then Sunday afternoon at 3. That Dexter versus Bernie varsity championship replay here on YHC. Go online, watch it anytime on demand at our website, yhctv.com, or our YouTube page or Facebook page as well. You can go watch it anytime there on online, yhctv.com, and Facebook and YouTube pages. And also for the JV contest, Dexter versus Bernie, you can watch that JV final today, Saturday afternoon at 1:30. We'll probably have it a couple more times throughout the afternoon or the weekend as well. But Dexter versus Bernie JV final Saturday afternoon, this afternoon at 1:30, and probably Sunday afternoon, probably at around 4:30 as well. You can probably catch that Sunday at 4:30 in the afternoon. And you can go online as well, watch that on demand, yhctv.com, and our YouTube and Facebook pages as well. And we're going to take our first break real quick, and we're going to come back and talk some headlines from the area and what's basically taking place this week and how it matters going forward in the high school basketball season. We're going to take a break and be back with that coming up.
At Glen Sain, we realize that buying a vehicle is a very big purchase. Our people enjoy visiting with our customers and working every deal to save them money. Customers see these special prices on the internet, but then must have a trade-in, must finance X amount of dollars. At Glen Sain, we'll show you exactly what price you're going to be giving. We'll show you the Glen Sain price is better, and you'll enjoy your visit. That's what we do at all 4 Glen Sain locations. Best price, best service. Glen Sain, and God bless our troops.
At Ag Explore, we're farmers too. So we know that farming's never been a 9-to-5 job. Just like the farmer, we work overtime to bring you whatever it takes. Solutions like InZone help you retain 47% more nitrogen with an overall average increase of 12 bushels per acre. Imagine what InZone can do for you. Ag Explore.
Over 100 years.
And welcome back. Now we're going to take a look at some headlines from the week, especially the last week's games and how they matter going forward. First, taking a look at the SCAA Dexter varsity and JV win the Stoddard County titles over Bernie. Dexter and Bernie finals for both the JV and varsity ranks last night, and Dexter making a clean sweep the regular season. Dexter winning that battle in the varsity in the regular season, also in the tournament final last night, also in the JV. Dexter beating Bernie in the regular season, also in the Malden JV tournament, and also last night. So winning 3 of those matchups in the JV ranks as well. So Dexter having a big week, and also the cheer team. Cheer team coming away with the Stoddard County cheerleading championship as well last night for the cheer competition. So clean sweep for the Dexter schools last night in the basketball and cheerleading ranks. So a big week for the Dexter Bearcats in Stoddard County this week. And moving on, take a look at Cape Central getting that key SEMO Conference game over Poplar Bluff. So Cape Central has an inside track over Poplar Bluff for that regular season title. And right now it probably looks like Cape Central and Sykeston to battle it out for that SEMO Conference championship in the regular season. Just because, based on the SEMO Conference tournament earlier in the year, it was Cape Central and Sykeston in that title game where Cape Central defeated Poplar Bluff at the very end. I think it was a 3-point victory, Cape Central over Poplar Bluff in that semifinal, where Cape Central advanced and then eventually lost to Sykeston in the championship. And that's the way the conference looks like in the regular season as well. Probably going to come down to Cape Central and Sykeston. So a big win for Cape Central last night over Poplar Bluff, who's probably going to battle it out for that second place between those two. And a big win for them to be the inside track for basically that next hurdle, which there's plenty of hurdles in the conference, don't get me wrong. They've still got Notre Dame. I think Cape Central still got Notre Dame there in the mix, Jackson, a couple of other schools that they're going to have some hurdles, but that main hurdle is Sykeston. And just from an outsider's view, you would think that Sykeston and Cape Central, that's what it's going to come down to for the conference once again this year. And 2 of the top 2 ranked teams in the state in Class 4, Sykeston 1, Cape Central 2. That's certainly what you would expect. So the first hurdle for Cape Central, they cleared, and won't have Sykeston Cape Central matchup until a couple weeks. Actually, not sure. Let's see where that one's going to be at. That one's going to be at Sykeston. So that's Cape Central at Sykeston, and that's on February 8th. So we've got a couple weeks for that one. I think that one's on Friday, February 8th at Sykeston. Cape at Sykeston on February 8th. So big match up there. That's still a couple weeks away. A lot of build-up for that one, certainly, for Cape at Sykeston on February 8th. So that's one to look forward to in a couple weeks here in southeast Missouri. But Cape Central needing that victory over Poplar Bluff to keep that SEMO Conference regular season title viable, and it is at this point. So big win for Cape Central last night over Poplar Bluff. And Portageville, impressive this week. You got to look out for these Bulldogs going forward. They got a big win over Hayti earlier in the week. Big win at Portageville over Hayti in the Boot Hill Conference. So Portageville is going to have the top seed in the Boot Hill Conference tournament this week in Zenith at Zenith Hornersville High School. So look out for these Bulldogs, and a big win last night over New Madrid. Non-conference matchup there, but certainly a big win for the Bulldogs at home last night over New Madrid. And got to look out for these Bulldogs going forward. They look really good, and they got some of the best guard play in the area, especially in the Boot Hill. Their only real weakness, I would say, is their front court. Their size underneath, but man, they've been playing well. Terry Kirkwood has really come along. Bryce Roan, and they bring a Garmin kid off the bench as well as a sophomore that's really contributed well. Those kids have really gotten better over the year, and I think that's what we're seeing out of the Portageville team. Earlier in the year, they pretty much relied on their guard play, but as the season has progressed, we've seen bigger play out of Kirkwood, Roan, and Garmin. That rotation has done really well in the front court underneath, rebounding well, and starting to see more scoring out of the front court as well for Portageville. So you're starting to see a more rounded team there in Portageville, and I think that's why we're seeing probably the best Portageville team we've seen here in late January and probably going into February. They've really got one of the best teams around. You could tell it by the start of the year. You could really tell they had probably one of the best backcourts in the Boot Hill and they just needed some inside presence to share the scoring and really get the rebounding, and really started to dominate the glass to really complement that backcourt. And we're really starting to see that here in 2019. So it's fun to see and exciting to see Portageville starting to make a run in the Boot Hill, and going to have the #1 seed in the Boot Hill Conference. And they host the district this year down there in Class 2 District 1. So you can't count out the Portageville Bulldogs, especially having it on their home court. So look out for the Portageville Bulldogs going forward, playing really well here in January. And the Boot Hill Conference Tournament, speaking of that, set for this week at Zenith, and we're going to try to be down there Friday night for the final. We haven't done a live broadcast down at Zenith ever, so hopefully we can pull that off this week. We'll try to arrange that, but big final setup there. You got Portageville, Hayti, South Pim. I don't want to forget one that I shouldn't. Crothersville right there in the mix. And even Campbell. Even Campbell can really make things interesting there. They've had a much improved year this year. Got some upperclassmen that have really played well. And got some underclassmen, too, that are really contributing for the Camels as well. So they could make it interesting there, certainly in the first round. But, well, I'll tell you, Hayti, Portageville, South Pim, even Crothersville. Crothersville's capable of really, biting anybody at any point. So we'll see what happens there in the Boot Hill Conference. Should be a great tournament this week in Zenith, and we'll see what happens. Typically, we're there for they have the JV and varsity finals on Friday night, and we'll try to make that happen Friday night here on YHC. So a great tournament set. You got Portageville, Hayti, Crothersville, South Pim, and can't really overlook the Campbell Camels there in the first round. I haven't seen the seeds yet, but Campbell's, they played very well. They got a win over Crothersville, so they're probably right there in that 4 seed range, probably something like that, 4 to 5 seed. So look out for the Camels in the first round as well. So we'll see what happens. It's going to be a interesting tournament that takes place there in Zenith all this week. And let's take one more break here. We'll kind of finish up with our broadcast schedule going forward and talk more about that coming up.
Over 100 years. That's how long Farm Credit has been there for our friends in the agricultural community. Whether your farm needs an operating line of credit, equipment or farm real estate financing, or crop insurance, Farm Credit has the tools you need to help your operation grow and be successful. We are dedicated to make the extra effort to understand your operation and your needs. Agriculture and Farm Credit is here to stay. Stop by or give us a call and let us help you find the best solutions for your operation's success.
If you or your loved one has disabilities that cause you to need a little help, Boot Hill Area Independent Living Services can provide the assistance you need. At Bales, we want you to have control of your life and assist you in thriving in an independent lifestyle. The Consumer-Directed Services Program allows you, the consumer, to choose who assists you in conducting your daily activities. Bales serves Stoddard, Dunklin, New Madrid, and Pemiscot counties. Call or visit our office in Kennett to see how we can help you maintain your independence.
At Baldwin Ford Lincoln Toyota, we are an exclusive dealer with lifetime warranties on over 800 new and pre-owned vehicles.
Did you know all new Toyotas come with a lifetime warranty?
And all new Fords come with a lifetime warranty.
And most pre-owned come with a lifetime warranty. Baldwin Ford Lincoln Toyota, where we all win. With Baldwin.
And let's take a look at our broadcast schedule here on YHC going forward. This week we got a Tuesday night broadcast, Twin Rivers at Bernie. Big matchup there. Should be a good one, always is between those two, Twin Rivers and Bernie. Tuesday night, 7:30 start here on YHC. Catch that one Tuesday night. Then Thursday night, we'll have our first girls broadcast of the year, Naylor at Dexter at the Bearcat Event Center. That should be a 7:30 start. We'll see about that, if it indeed is a 7:30 start. But that'll be Thursday night, the 31st, this coming week at Dexter, Naylor at Dexter. And then Friday night, we intend to bring the Boot Hill Conference Finals. That's the JV and varsity finals for the boys tournaments. And that'll be 6 o'clock for JV, 7:30 start for the boys. And look forward to that. Hopefully, we can pull that off February 1st, next Friday night. And into the next week, we've got a Monday night broadcast, Notre Dame at Dexter for girls. And that'll be a Monday, February 4th. Then Tuesday night, big matchup, Class 2 District 1 matchup. They're on Tuesday, February 5th. Bernie at Hayti. We're going to bring that live to you from Hayti. Should be a great one. And that's out of the Class 2 District 1. So you never know what's going to happen in that tournament this year. And we'll be down there on February 5th. And then that Friday night will be here in Dexter. And that'll be a SEMO Conference matchup. Kennett at Dexter on February 8th. So look forward to that one as well. And into the last few weeks, we've got February 11th, Cooter at Campbell. February 12th, Dexter at Poplar Bluff in the SEMO Conference. February 14th, Holcomb at Malden. And February 21st, they're Thursday and Friday nights. Well, I think there's going to be some on Friday night this year. That'll be the Class 1 through 3 District Tournament Finals, which we intend to bring the Class 1, 2, and 3 District 1 Finals those nights. So those are the matchups to look for this weekend. First of all, Tuesday night, Twin Rivers at Bernie. Should be a good one. Always is between those two. Should be a really good matchup. So be looking forward to that one Tuesday night. And not a whole lot going on this week. I know we had the conference championships. I know Chiefs fans are still recovering, and probably Saints fans more so. I mean, it was a crazy weekend in NFL. Talking about the Saints and that botched call at the end, and non-pass interference, and even what was that? A lawsuit that was brought against the NFL, civil suit. That was amazing. The crazy thing was how all that developed. What recourse? What can be done? That sort of thing. And of course, you expected a lawsuit. Don't expect that to go anywhere. But what was interesting, how people dug into things to see how the Saints could kind of right the wrong or whatever, but the commissioner actually has, Commissioner Roger Goodell, the NFL commissioner, has the authority to basically use his authority to basically order the teams to go back to a certain time of the game and replay the game from that moment. And it actually happened back in, I think it was looking back into Man, I can't believe it was the early. It was in the mid 1900s. I can't remember if it was in the 40s, 50s, or 60s. I can't remember, but there was a moment in the game where a player actually come out of the stands. It was right at the goal line, and it was a passing play inside the 5, and a fan snuck in from behind the end zone into the end zone right behind the line of scrimmage, and he was kind of hiding out behind the line of scrimmage, and a guy threw the pass into the end zone, and he actually deflected it, and it was incomplete. And the play actually stood. That's what was crazy about the whole deal. The play actually stood on the field with the fan actually knocking the pass down in the end zone to defend the touchdown. And the play actually stood. It was just amazing. I think at that point, the NFL made a rule, and I don't even know if it was the NFL at that point. I don't think so. It's like the AFL or whatever. And they made a rule to where the commissioner could say, okay, that play shouldn't have counted. Go back and replay from this point on. And I think it was after that they made that rule. And just how people dug up all this information that the commissioner actually has the authority to say, okay, that play shouldn't have counted, go back and replay it. Just amazing that the commissioner actually has that authority, and it's not like it's just a current thing. They negotiated that in the CBA here recently. No, that goes back decades to a point in the mid-1900s where just basically try to right a wrong that's pretty obvious. You got a fan coming out of the stands and getting in on a play, and the referees actually uphold. It was incomplete play stands with an extra 12th defender from the stands. Can you imagine if that happened today? That'd be total anarchy. I mean, I think we would. I think President Trump would maybe declare martial law over that, especially in New Orleans. It would just be unbelievable how that would play out. But that was just interesting, how things unfolded from that, what we actually learned. So, yeah, Saints fans going to take a while to get over that one, but Chiefs fans as well. You had the Patriots at home, the best quarterback in the league, best offense, not near the best defense, which we basically were confirmed of last weekend. But we got a got a Rams and Patriots championship replay, a rematch of Super Bowl 36 back from 2002, from the 2001 season. So bringing back memories for all the St. Louis and Missouri fans when the Rams were in St. Louis, but I'm sure not as many care anymore. But there's probably enough anti-Patriot fans out there to at least muster up some Rams support for the Super Bowl in a couple of weeks. But it's Pro Bowl weekend, not a big deal. Other than that, I guess some college basketball going on, but it's kind of a week in between the Super Bowl, and we'll be looking forward to Super Bowl 53 in Atlanta next Sunday, February 3rd. So we'll be looking forward to that on CBS this year. Tony Romo getting the call, and Tony Romo's been big on the broadcasts in the NFL, and I think it'll be great. So we'll see what happens. And we're going to wrap it up for today. Apologize for the lack of production quality today. We had some studio issues today we're trying to iron out, so having to come here into the control room and put it together for you from here. So having to make do with what we can do today, and wanted to have a show in because there's a lot going on, and wanted to get to a lot of the things that happened this week, and including last night. So there we go. So that wraps it up for today. Appreciate you all for tuning in, and we'll see you next time, and have a great week, everyone.